Welcome back to another edition of Hanging with the Homeless. Next two shows will focus on veterans and disability and the issues affecting veterans. Once again, we'd like to thank all our supporters and those who have stood by our side. You've been awesome, and there's a lot more of you now coming and helping the mission and coming there and visiting and seeing what they do, we do, and you know, it's not about me. A lot of people don't realize I'm very proud of them because I was right. The homeless can help themselves, you know, with the right resources, and they've proven that time and time again. We've had directors that have failed, but you know, it's very hard to run a shelter, first of all, on very limited resources. Actually, most people would laugh at our budget because we work on pennies. And the directors are subject to all sorts of temptation and all these things, but you will never hear me put one down. And people need to look at, instead of putting them down, the people that have been directors and helped, they did all that they did without pay, and they did it out of their hearts to help other people. Everybody has problems. There's nobody exempt from problems. If anybody out there says they have no issues or skeletons of problems, they are telling the truth. But you will never hear one of our former directors talk down by me because I'm proud that they tried. And it's hard to stand tall with all the temptations that are out there as far as drugs and alcohol. And it goes on and on and on. Temptation is very tight. And even nobody can tell me in these paying jobs when they're even given a salary, that the temptation and all that's not there, because it is. So I am proud of all the people that have been my directors and assistant directors and all that, because they give it a good shot and they're still doing well now. Everybody falls, everybody has a problem. There's no alcoholic yet that I've seen that, you know, has just got off the sauce and, you know, they're fine the rest of their life. It doesn't work that way. Any drug addict that's ever been on drug or pills, you know, perfection, you always have that chance of going back to that addiction. So for those out there, you know, that are condemning, you know, these people for helping out, they did a big service to the community. Problems or not, they served the community and they did a lot of help in this community. And I support them 100%, and most of them were vets, which I'm learning more and more about. So if there's any blaming on any mistakes, the blame goes on me, not the directors or the vets that, you know, fell or had problems. I take it on my shoulders. Today I have Claudio and Marilyn, who was on the show before. And, you know, I talk more and more with Claudio, and he's gained 100% more of my respect for what he does. Claudio, would you like to tell the audience, you know, your record? What branch were you in?
I was in the Army for 6 years.
What unit or?
18 Delta.
And you served in combat twice?
3 times.
3 times. Okay. And I know you're on disability and you're still working, but what amount of disability do they have you on?
They gave me 10%, my first claim.
And what disabilities do you have? Because I know it limits your ability to do a lot of work.
It's a head injury. I bleed through the head, and they gave me medicine to control my headaches. What I have is incurable. They can control it, but I will have it for the rest of my life.
And you have a plate, or what did they do to fix it in there? Excuse me, I'm a dummy.
They did.
When it comes to medical.
Plastic surgeries. They did everything. I have it's a plastic plate that they put on now. And the last thing they found was black spots in my brain. They don't know what it is. They think I had a heart attack, but they can't pinpoint what exactly is the problem with that right now.
So you served your country honorably for 6 years, went in combat 3 times. Even after you were injured, you went back to combat.
One time,
correct?
yeah, one time.
That's pretty amazing. In my book, that's amazing. I mean, it's that you got injured that bad and then went back to combat. Why did you go back to combat the 3rd time?
I just wanted to serve my country. That's pretty much how I thought. When I was in the Army, I was like very dedicated to it. And I served my 6 years. That's what I signed for, and I did it honorably.
But when you were so badly injured, couldn't have you got a medical discharge or been honorably discharged at that point?
Yes, I could have gotten a medical discharge,
But
definitely.
you chose not to.
I decided to finish the term that I signed in for.
Wow. It's amazing. You got a lot of my respect. What affects you now daily? I know you work at Bell's and you do a lot of good stuff around the shelter. What kind of effects is that now having on you?
Oh, everything. Like my day starts, after I wake up, like 4 hours after the headache will start coming in. I do take pills daily to control it, but then it gets to a point that no pills or anything will fix it at all. It's a migraine headache, and I'll have it like for 2-3 days, and no pill. They gave me pills. They tried to give me different kinds of medications. They change it every time I go to the VA, but they work for a little bit, and then I guess my head get used to it, and they won't work anymore.
Do you feel you're leading a normal life like you should right now?
No, it's far from normal.
Do you feel that your service affected the way you are now?
Yes.
Okay. We have a lot more questions for you in the next segment, but you got a lot of my respect. But that's, with having so many people, sometimes I don't get everybody's complete story. But I can tell you right now, you got a lot of my respect, and I hope a lot of the viewers' respect for what he did. And now that he's trying to work, he has the problems where he has to call off sometimes because of these headaches. And, more needs to be done for the veterans who are disabled, especially when they've served 6 years for their country, went into combat 3 times, and even went back into combat after a severe injury. I mean, that's awesome. But to leave him in this kind of shape, I disagree, and I feel that, you should be getting your disability more than 10%. 10% of what makes what? Is that really supporting you?
No, no.
What does 10% equal out to? I'm just
$127 a month.
$127 a month for
Yes,
serving
sir.
your country 6 years and being injured that badly, and wow. We're running out of time for this segment. We'll be back with Claudio and Marilyn. And once again, I would like to thank all the people that help. And we also pray for those who give us a hard time. So we pray for everybody. And if not for God, we would not be here and the mission would not be so successful. So today our glory goes out to God. And if anybody doesn't like the God thing, I'm sorry. God bless.